camped out overnight for this. Good to see you here, Angelito. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Download. My name is Jace. This is Cosmic Origins. We are going to be talking about a number of different variety of topics today, from what's going on in the world geopolitically to crazy ascension dreams that I have that validate things that we've been talking about, to cryptocurrency and what's going on in that space. So if this is your first time here, welcome. Please hit subscribe. If you guys are returning and you haven't hit that notification bell, hit that, because it actually helps me. I'm super shadow banned, and it actually helps my channel out. So thank you. And let's go ahead and let's talk about, I'm going to talk about my dream first, because I think that's a good place to kind of start this, and then we'll go into the Talibros and everything that's going on with that, and then we'll get into Stronghold and crypto and whatever kind of XRP flare stuff you guys want to talk about later too. I won't be here next weekend, just so you guys know. I'm going to be at Camp Disclosure in Georgia. So if that is something that is in your area, I highly recommend you go out to that. I'm going to be hosting the event, the main stage. I'm going to be like the MC basically. So I did it last year. It was super fun. Last year it was in South Carolina or North Carolina, and it was just beautiful. And it was the first time I had ever been to like that part of the country, and this will be my first time going to Georgia. And Camp Disclosure is basically all about like disclosure, ascension, starseed activation, mission work, that kind of stuff. So if that interests you, go to campdisclosure.com. There's also a live stream you can check out. But let's get into the dream. So yesterday, my wife Alexis and I were having a lot of conversations, and really over the past week, about the changes going on right now. So we've been talking about the Earth changes, like, you know, the ascension, pole shift, micronova, climate change type changes that are happening, right? So if you're new to this topic, you know, obviously climate change is a big buzz, but what they don't talk about, because climate change is so politicized, what they don't talk about is that the climate is changing because the solar system is changing, the Earth is changing, the sun is changing. We're moving into a different part of the galaxy. Some call it the photon belt, but we're moving into a more highly energized part of our cycle, of our solar system cycle, basically, like the orbit that our solar system does in the Milky Way. We're moving into a new highly energized place. This has been happening for decades. It's going to continue happening for decades, likely. And so with this, the sun is going through changes. The sun is also, in a very straightforward scientific sense, going into solar maximum, from what I understand, which means it's going to be increasing in energy. And that's just scientifically. And then all these things that we're talking about with the more grand solar changes that are outside of the norm, and how these kind of pertain to these 25,000 year cycles that relate to like the fall of Atlantis and the fall of Lemuria and that kind of stuff. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are already really familiar with this. And we've been talking, Alexis and I, about where the water is basically going to be shifting in these new paradigms we're going to be coming into, because a lot of people have been having visions and downloads and just contact about the water levels changing drastically from what they are now. And I mean like the ocean levels, and I don't mean like climate change, like the poles are melting and so maybe LA is going to flood like a little bit or something. No, I mean like, if you look up Edgar Cayce's ocean map from Edgar Cayce's like channelings from like 100 years ago, that map is, I think, a pretty close depiction to what we're going to be moving into. Yo, what's up, Jaff? Good to see you, man. That map from Edgar Cayce, good to see you too, Riley. That map shows a pretty, I think, accurate depiction. And what's interesting is Alexis and I have both had dreams about Sedona being underwater. And we've talked to people who have had dreams about Sedona being like a beach too. And although that was likely, although that likely has happened in the past, this series of dreams for us were very much like present day, if not future. Like in my dream, and this isn't even the dream that I want to talk about in this video, but it kind of pertains to it. In this dream where Sedona was underwater, it was literally like all of the red rocks except for the very top of the spires of like Bell Rock and Cathedral Rock and stuff, it was all under the water. And there was like a big dam too, and I remember thinking that we were going to be doing something with that dam basically. And then Alexis had a very similar dream about Sedona being underwater and being on a boat on top of the water in Sedona. So in this, to go back to the Edgar Cayce map, in this Edgar Cayce map, it literally shows the coastline, the new coastline, going straight down the middle of Arizona. And if you kind of pick out where Sedona would be, it's like Sedona would be almost exactly along the new coast. And we've kept picturing like Sedona's going to be like the new coastline in a weird way. Like that sounds really weird, but you know, that's the vision we keep getting, and people keep talking about that, and we keep hearing about that and seeing that. And then so last night I had another dream, and this was a dream of straight up a tsunami happening in what felt like it was probably California. And so in this dream, I was with Alexis and some other people, and we were it felt like we were maybe in like Big Sur or somewhere on the coast of California where there's large cliffs, and you would think that a tsunami is not gonna have much of an impact, right? And it's funny because we were literally talking about last night Big Sur in particular, because a friend of ours just moved there right on the coast, and we were like, oh, I hope, you know, they're gonna be okay if there's ever, you know, a tsunami, not to mention all the people in LA and on the coast and everything. And so in this dream, it feels like we were in Big Sur, and we were looking over at the water, and there's, you know, we're a couple 100 feet up and on the cliffside, and then we see these, like a big wave coming in, like a big swell. Like, you know how a tsunami isn't like a giant wave when it comes up, but it starts small, and then when it, you know, it either hits something and gets big, or it just keeps going because it's like underwater that it has all that kinetic energy. And so a lot of people were like, oh, it's not gonna, you know, nothing's gonna happen because it's, you know, just gonna hit the thing and bounce off or whatever. And I was like, no, like we gotta run. And so I just turned around and started booking it, and then I turned back and look, and literally like the cliffside that everyone's standing on, huge wave of water just surges over it, like, I don't know, 50, 70 feet high, huge feet of water. And I was just like, holy shit. And then I woke up, and then it was like the middle of the night still. So that was a pretty validating, I feel like, confirmation that, yeah, California maybe is a place that you want to reconsider living in, especially if you're on the coast. And I know a lot of people in LA in particular who in this past week have told me that they're getting the immediate sign to move. Like multiple people have told me that they're going to be moving in the next few weeks out of LA. So I think that's another sign that people are getting that download, that there is something coming. And so I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm not trying to, like, you know, scare you out of living in California or something, but just be in tune, be discerning, stay in contact with your guides, because your guides will lead you to the right place ultimately. Everyone's going to be guided to where they're meant to be when these shifts are taking place. So some people are going to meant to be in California. I'm not saying like California is getting totally wiped out, at least not yet. I think there will be stages of this thing, and it pertains to the pole shift too, right? Because I think that these things are going to come when we have slight degree changes in the physical and magnetic poles on the Earth. And so this is a big part of this 25,000 year cycle. Jeff says, I wonder if the volcanoes in Alaska would have something to do with that. And the fault line, yeah, probably. That's a really good point, and I forgot about those. It probably does have to do with the pole changes. And that's what I remember hearing for the past couple years. I've been like really prepping for this and understanding this and getting more clarity on this, I should say, that there's going to be these major earth changes. They're going to come in the form of natural cataclysms, and it's just a natural thing that the earth goes through, and we have to trust that we're going to be in the right places when these things go down. And you know, if we happen to be in the wrong place and we're taken out, well, that was our path, you know. Like, I don't think people are going to be suffering and all that stuff. I think it's a very natural thing for when a planet goes through cycles like this, for, you know, large portions of the population to be no longer on the planet. And it's all subconscious contracts, right? Like, these are all things that we've decided before we even came here, I believe. So really what I'm trying to say is no reason to fear at all. Everything is meant to be what it's supposed to be. And so to go back to these pole shifts, I want to bring up something that I heard from Elizabeth April lately, which I agreed with before I heard this from her, which was that we're going to be experiencing changes in the poles, but it's not going to be like 180 or 90 or 360 degree pole shift like we've been hearing about potentially, like have happened, we know scientifically in the past. Like they've done studies to show that you know, certain sediment layers, they can tell that there was a pole shift like 90 or 180 degrees. And there's a lot of like ancient maps of Antarctica showing it being a jungle, and there's like mammoths there and temples, and like these are depicted on these maps. And then conversely, Hawaii might have been like the polar regions. So rather than going through as an extreme of a shift like that, which is something I've been talking to my guides about, I've been shown that it's going to be less intense than that. And this is something that Elizabeth April confirmed, who's a channeler. She has a huge YouTube channel, Elizabeth April, on YouTube. And pretty sure she's got like almost 1 million subscribers or something, like really huge audience. And she was saying this as well, that her guides told her that it was only going to be like a 12-degree shift total, maybe, at least in you know, our near future, or I don't even know what time period, but I would guess maybe in the next couple decades, that this is, you know, 12 degrees seems kind of practical. And what I was envisioning that would include would be, rather than like a sudden 180 degree shift, which would cause major cataclysms, major tsunamis, these are going to be like 1 degree, couple degrees at a time, where there's going to be like major earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes and things like that. But it's not going to be like the whole world at once. And so it's going to be manageable. People will be guided to the places they need to be. It's not going to be like utter chaos, but there will be events like this continuing to happen. And so just to keep an eye out for that, to use discernment, because I know a lot of people are speculating that like a lot of these natural cataclysms are actually cabal attacks, which, you know, they could be for all we know, but I resonate with that the majority of the natural cataclysms we're seeing are natural. And even though, you know, people speculate that, say, volcanic eruptions can be caused by directed energy weapons and things like that, which I think is probably true, I feel like, say, like you were saying, Jeff, the volcanoes in Alaska are more of a natural event than a man-made caused event. And this will be a continuously polarizing event for humanity too, as the darker groups continue to try to blame these things on humanity. And the more cataclysms there are that are totally natural, the more that the dark forces on the planet are going to use that to blame the common person like us and go, this is your fault because of global warming and all that kind of stuff. And that's the huge shame game that they're playing on the planet right now, that's really eating at the solar plexus and the heart, and I would say the sacral chakra of the collective, which are the 3 chakras that we're really working with the most right now, I would say. Like we're moving from, as a vibration of energy, we're moving from the 3rd density yellow ray solar plexus chakra energy field dimension to the green ray heart centered 4th density. And at the same time, many people are still stuck in the 2nd ray orange sacral, which is the more animalistic ray, which is literally why you see a majority of people still living like animals on the planet, like living in their scarcity and huge competition, and like they don't have enough in their root chakra either, so they're constantly trying to take more and steal and do these kind of things. Like this has been a very concurrent energy field on the planet. A lot of people stuck in that orange ray 2nd density animalistic kind of behavior, and yet we're supposed to be moving from 3rd to 4th, and a lot of people are still kind of stuck in those 2nd. So very polarizing times that we're in, and yet it's those 3 chakras that they're really messing with the guilt on the planet, when they're like, this is your fault, this is humanity's fault, blah blah blah. They're taking things that are either natural or actually their own fault and blaming it on the people. We internalize that, and it creates a sickness in the collective consciousness, and it creates a disempowerment, because that's that's the solar plexus, which is all about personal empowerment. That's the sacral, which is all about creation and sexuality, and like the creation energy through sexuality. So Yeah. What's up, Claudette? Good to see you. Something big coming, but don't know what, says Diesel Hound. Yeah, I feel like something really big is coming, and it might even be this week. And I'm seeing a lot of the crypto, Ripple Riddler, XRP, Schizo Army kind of crowd, as they call themselves. That's what they call themselves. I'm not making fun of them. I've seen a lot of that crowd really feeling like something big is coming this next week, and particularly the 22nd is looking like a major date, which is that tomorrow? Yeah, so I think this next week we could be seeing major things, and there's things I want to talk about so bad in this video that are not ready to be talked about yet, and I'm trying to figure out what I can say in the most generic way possible. There are miracles that I've been experiencing the past couple days when it comes to particular things hidden in, let's just say hidden in the blockchain, messages and codes and opportunities that are hidden deep in the blockchain. And I've been going all in, really teaching myself a lot about how to navigate the blockchain and navigate the transparency of the blockchain, and being able to figure out like exactly what's going on at what point in time and who's doing what and where it's happening. And I've with a group of people, I've found some crazy stuff that is related and includes the same stuff that Zach Zen God was talking about on his channel last roundtable, when they were saying they found some crazy stuff. I ended up finding more on top of what they were talking about, and we've just been like going down the rabbit hole. So sometime soon, I think we will all talk about what we've discovered publicly, but I think we're all kind of getting the vibe too that it's not the right time, and that there's still an opportunity for people to find what we're talking about on their own and follow this treasure map, so to say. So I'm going to give you guys a hint, and I'm going to preface this with talking about Kane coin. So if you guys follow Zen God and you follow Graph and those guys that are part of the Kane group, which are the crypto guys and group that I've been hanging out with and doing videos with and roundtables with the past couple months, great group of people. They created their own crypto called Kane coin, which is amazing. And it was the creation of this thing that really launched the series of miracles and crazy rabbit holes that we've been going down this past week. Yes, Angelito, the ability to create your own currency using Stellar, that is that's part of it. I mean, that's not the whole thing. That's like the beginning of it, but that's what they did with Kane coin. They created their own currency from this community they had built, and now it's got a sustainable value. People are buying and selling it, they're trading it. It's really a beautiful thing. And what's up, my man Johnny, Sexual Kung Fu? Good to see you, man. I'll see you in Georgia in just a couple days. So what's really cool about Kane coin is that it's created with the intention of community and of creating value in a niche community. And the ideas that they've had so far on how to use it are basically as kind of a membership to kind of events and things like that. So one of the things that, say, Graph is planning on doing is they want to throw a huge music festival called Kangcella, which is basically going to be like a New Earth 5D Coachella. That's like, you know, conscious and legit and not part of those dark old energies that have been going on the planet. And so one of the uses of Kane coin will be like everyone who has one Kane coin will be allowed to not only attend the event for free and other events, but they will be allowed to vote for what artists and contributors they want involved at the event. So this is just like one example of how these kind of things can be used, and how I think cryptos in general are going to be used for supporting these kind of conscious communities and things like that. So Kane coin is super exciting. If you want to buy your own Kane coin, I believe they're running for about $50 to $60 a coin right now. There's only 2,200 of those coins total in existence. And this is kind of a collector's coin right now, and there's going to be a version 2 of this project that we're all going to be working on later that is going to actually be backed by gold. And this is where the things start getting exciting. So this is the hint. If you know how to look through the DEX, through the stellar DEX, through the blockchain, I'm just going to tell you to look into Kane coin and the beginnings of Kane coin, the origins of Kane coin, and just start exploring that if you are savvy with these kind of things. And if you find anything crazy, get back to me and I'll let you know if it's what I'm talking about. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then that's okay. In the near future, we'll be coming forward and talking about what we found and the crazy experiences and opportunities and miracles that have been happening. So, whew, yeah, exciting stuff. Ooh, Dr. Marian says, I'm doing an event festival retreat for the equinox in Cancun with Santos Bonacci. Could we get involved in Kane coin? Yeah, I mean, you basically would just have to like buy one. I would say you only really need one because of the way this works. It's going to basically be like a membership token to kind of prove that you were a part of this establishing group when this originated. And you don't really need more than one. So to get involved with it, I would say you just need to buy one, and then you're a part of that network, right? You can trade it. So another thing is that all the transactions that Kangs in the group send to each other will be through Kane coin rather than through other currencies. So it's just kind of a cool concept. But yeah, shoot me a message if you want to know more about that, Dr. Marion. Okay, let's talk about, you guys want to talk about the Talibros and what's been going on in the Middle East? I got to be really careful about the words I say here because, yeah, my channel is very looked after and I have to be very careful with the words. So we're just going to call them Talibros because that's what Graf's been calling them, and I really like it and it really resonates and it's hilarious. So I think we can all agree that there's been a lot of strange things going on with this whole situation in that part of the world, right? And I'm not going to explain myself any more than that because I don't want to put the trigger words out there. But there's been a lot of abnormalities, questionable videos, questionable photos, questionable actions. And it kind of started for me when I saw the video, which I'm pretty sure most of you have seen now, of the plane that had 9/11 but backwards on it, 119, that was taxiing down the airstrip in, I'm going to call it K, the city. I know you guys know what K means, but the city that is the capital of this place, that has the big airport, that's been the center of attention. So, rhymes with Naboo. So, the plane is taxiing down the runway, and then all the guys, really just younger men, no women, no children, they're all running next to this plane, and they're cheering, and they're looking happy, and they're like, yay! And there's people like holding on to the plane, and then supposedly in the same set of videos, plane takes off, and all of a sudden there's people falling from the plane, right? There's like literal bodies falling. And so the bodies falling were the first thing that I saw made rounds on social media when it came to this stuff. And immediately it reminded me of 9/11 because the last time that a lot of us, especially kind of in my age generation, saw this kind of stuff was during 9/11 when there were people, jumping from the towers, and literally on TV there were bodies falling from the sky, and it was extremely traumatizing for a lot of people. And so in a very similar sense, this plane brought up, I think, a lot of the emotions in the collective consciousness from that time period and seeing bodies falling and things like that. And it also is kind of a revisiting of these energies just before we get to the 20th anniversary of what happened on 9/11. So that video was making rounds, and I was like, that's really interesting. And from the get-go, if you guys followed me on Instagram, I was like, something doesn't feel right about this. And someone messaged me and was like, do you think they're not actually bodies? Like, and I was like, I don't know. I feel something's off. And then the video started to circulate of what the media was telling us were people in that country trying to escape on US military planes. They said they were swarming the airport, they were trying to escape by the hundreds and the thousands, and they were grabbing onto the planes and they were falling, and still something was not feeling right about that story. And then that's when that one video came out where the plane was taxiing, and then the people are running and they're cheering, they're smiling, they're like, yay, and they're like waving at the cameras, and they're like really happy. And that doesn't make sense at all in the same context of people desperately trying to flee and blah, blah, blah. And so on one hand, some people said, well, maybe the plane is landing instead of taking off, and they're excited because they think they're going to be able to get on the plane, which is an okay theory, except that in all the videos I saw, it looked like the plane was taking off. It didn't look like it was landing. Why are there only young men? Where are all the women and children in, you know, that particular scene? There was a lot of things. And then it came out that that plane doesn't even look like it's a real plane. There were multiple photos, which if you go to my Instagram, Cosmic Origins with a 0 on the origins, if you go to my Instagram and look at my story, I have a picture of this. The real plane, the real version of that plane, that is that serial number 119C17, it doesn't look like that. The real plane has the numbers in a different spot, and it has the windows in a slightly different spot. So, you know, anything is possible. Like, it could be that, you know, the plane underwent a makeover or something, but that seems much less logical than them actually using a fake plane of some sort. And I know a lot of people, when they saw that video of the plane, including Alexis, she was like, that plane doesn't look real. Like, it looks green screened, or it looks fake or something. And when I was looking at the video too, I'm like, yeah, something about the people and the plane, it just doesn't look totally real. And so, I don't know, you know, I'm not gonna draw any definitive conclusions here and say it is fake, it isn't fake, whatever, but there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. There's a lot of abnormalities, and then on top of that, you know, when the Talibros actually took over the Capitol, there's a freaking MAGA hat behind them on the on the bookshelf. There's a MAGA hat, and then they're saying, oh, we're sending women back to schools, and we're like empowering women again, and they're super anti-VAX, and they're super anti-COVID, and then all these things. And then you realize, oh, Trump has these videos that are resurfacing from when he was president of him talking about making deals with the Taliban. And specifically, I watched a video, which is on my story on Instagram, Cosmic Origins with an O, where Trump is saying that he made a deal with the Taliban. He really hopes that they're going to follow through with their word, and that he believes that they're going to start taking out the bad guys, and they're going to start killing the terrorists. This is something I never even saw when it came out originally, and now it makes perfect sense. This was the plan the whole time, it seems like. And what it seems like is that, you know, if I had to guess, my best guess would be that the powers that ran that country for the past 20 years were the dark groups. The Taliban could have been a dark group, but it seems like there was a shift in it. Clearly they've been categorized as one thing for the past 20 years, and who knows if that's really what they were, or if that was a lie the whole time. But it seems like now, whatever we're seeing now is a different energy than what they're trying to present it as. And there's videos of these guys like in the gym, and like eating milk and cookies, doing like sleepovers, and it just doesn't look at all what the media is trying to make it out to be. And then there was like a clip of CNN of a news anchor who I'm sure you guys saw, where she's like, they're shouting, you know, DEATH to America, and I don't want to actually say that because it's not good to say, especially on the internet. But she's like, they're shouting that, and they're and yet they seem really kind, and they seem really nice. And I'm like, well, are they actually shouting that, or are you just making that up? So many things that don't make sense. What's up, Cheshire and Joel? Good to see you guys. Tony, good to see you. I'm about to talk about SHX in a moment. That's what we're going to get to next here. Dali mi banana. Full blue moon. That's right. It's going to be a full blue moon. Is that today? Tomorrow? That's like tomorrow, right? Wow. On top of the everything we've been hearing about the 22nd and then the full blue moon. So second full moon of the month. Big energies. So, yeah, anything else you guys want to point out about Talibros? The cicadas here are so loud right now. I don't know if you guys can hear them or hear me. But I'm very excited to see what plays out over the next couple weeks with this whole story, because I think this could be the catalyst for maybe the major changes that we've been feeling are going to be coming in the near future. And who would have guessed that this would have been the event that happened, right? I don't think anyone really saw this kind of thing coming, at least as like the primary thing going on in the world. So, yeah. Should we get into crypto stuff, you guys? You ready to move on to that? I want to tell you guys so bad about what we've been finding, but something keeps telling me it's not the right time yet. But look into the origins of Kane coin. That's all I'm going to say. You have to be pretty good at navigating the blockchain, but I've taught myself in the past few days. So if I can do it, you guys can definitely do it. All right, let's talk about SHX. Circadian rhythm, Angelito says. Yeah, now they just stopped. They heard you. Certain wallet addresses, that might be part of it. That might be part of it. And where they take you, and yeah, gotta figure it out. It's a treasure hunt. So, Stronghold. So I talked about Stronghold last week, and I even was supposed to make a video this week about it, and I guess this is the reason that I didn't, because they announced major updates to their white papers. So a white paper for a crypto company or network is essentially just the basis for how their network operates. Basically, whatever they want to tell their investors and their community about what they do and how their network works and all that kind of stuff. Tony, who has time for all that, bro? Well, you know, it's only meant for some people, I guess. So yeah, the white paper, so they basically put out an update about what their network was in the time period that I was saying that I was going to come make a video about it. And I'm really glad they did, because one of the things I was going to basically bring up in the video is that there's not enough info out there about Stronghold. They've barely put any information about themselves into the public. And I think now that they've had more trading volume and more activity, which is what they noted in their white paper, they wanted to give their community a larger basis for what was going on, a larger understanding. So, see you later, Successful Sarah. Sending you love too. Have a good road trip. Safe travels. So, the main things that I skimmed their white paper last night. I'm going to go back over, look at it again, and then I'll probably make a video just dedicated to that and going through it. But the things that popped out to me the most were, number one, the fact that they said by 2022 they estimated that they would have 1 million token holders. 1 million. Right now, I believe they have 10,000. So that's a huge increase from 10,000 to 1 million by 2022, 2023, I think they said. So that's huge. That's really good for the position of the network. And if you remember, kind of a background for Stronghold, they're a payments network that is working really closely with Stellar, Ripple, and Flare. And the reason why I got so bullish on them was when I saw that both Ripple and Flare, Hugo from the Flare networks, tweeted and tagged Stronghold saying that they were integral in their liquidity and payments and all that kind of stuff, that they were an integral part of that system. And I went, ooh, okay, if Ripple is a big fan of them and Flare's a big fan of them and they're already working with them, then I definitely want to get in on this project while it's still super cheap and no one knows about it yet. So that I got in on it a couple months ago, but I've been adding more and accumulating more recently. And so the fact that they're going to be estimating 100 million is like just really, really good for investors on that space. The second thing that jumped out to me was that DeFi is going to be a big part of their networks. And DeFi, decentralized finance, is obviously something we've talked a lot about with Flare networks, and XRP even has their own form of DeFi, which is, from what I understand, they do, although it's not really talked about or used yet. But Stronghold has DeFi. They didn't really go into it that much, but they will be later. And then the mechanism for their payments. So basically, what Stronghold is going to be used for, which I feel like is really, really going to take off, is it's going to be used for payments between people like us and merchants. So if you're going to the store, if you're, I don't know, buying something from someone off Etsy, or if you're any kind of merchant, really, any merchant that would want to be a part of this network. They lay out a diagram on how basically if the merchant is a customer of Stronghold, then the purchaser from the merchant, so say I go to, I don't know, they're partnered with IBM. So let's just say I buy something from IBM, like a computer or something like that. Does IBM even make computers anymore? I don't know. Computer parts. But say I buy something from IBM, I would get a certain percentage cash back to me in Stronghold. And then after I accumulate enough of that, I can use the Stronghold and buy directly from the merchant with the Stronghold. And then the merchant, in that case, would trade their Stronghold to the company Stronghold in return for real money. And so you would theoretically be able to use your SHX to buy things who are, you know, a part of this network, buy normal things. If you're going to, I don't know, like random stores that are a part of this network, like Target or Whole Foods or things like that. That's what I could picture signing on to this. And the fact that they're trying to go from 10,000 to 100 million, or sorry, a million in like 2 years, that would be the way to do it, right? You get into that kind of retail area of payments and the big retail companies, and I could just see it really taking off. And what else was in the white paper? That was about it that jumped out to me. There were other details in there, but it's looking really good. And then right after they put that white paper out, the price jumped a little bit, like 20% or something, jumped up immediately. So Stronghold, I really like. I'm really a fan of their CEO, Tammy Camp. I really like her. She gives me great vibes. I believe that they are a positive, white aligned group. The thing that you put on your head that I can't say because I'll probably get banned. I believe that they are aligned with the good and with the positive timeline. And I think IBM is too, and IBM is there. This is what I learned from studying them, actually, was that, someone brought this up in the comments, I think, about IBM. Tony said IBM's a fan of SHX. So IBM basically is, from what I understand, like their main customer right now. And they basically are working with a stable coin with IBM and doing all this internal payment stuff for IBM that I think is probably a test bed for what they're going to bring to other companies and stuff, but they're like pioneering it with IBM. And the other thing about IBM is IBM, you may know this or not, IBM's got a quantum computer that is literally called Q. It is the IBM Q computer. And I don't even know if I need to say anything more about that, but things are seeming very synchronistically aligned with this whole timeline. And if you don't believe me, just look up the IBM Q computer, and it's a quantum computer. If you've ever seen a quantum computer, they don't look like normal computers. They look like temples and They look like, you know, the watts from Cambodia and Thailand, but turned upside down and hanging from the ceiling. That's what quantum computers look like. Sacred geometry is a big part of them. And yeah, I think IBM is one of the positively aligned companies, which is what I realized through this whole rabbit hole. Oh yes, good question, Angelito. Stronghold is on what exchange? Right now, you can only buy it, to my knowledge, on Lobster. So Lobster, Lobstr. Lobster is a Stellar wallet that it's not technically an exchange. It's more like a liquidity corridor. They don't have, it's not like Uphold where they have reserves and they've got all these coins that they're selling you. They provide different, they basically connect different liquidity corridors. So when you buy a coin on Stronghold, you're buying it from usually the person who created the coin. And, or sorry, when you're buying it on Lobster, I didn't mean on Stronghold. When you're buying something on Lobster, you're buying it from usually the direct person who made it. So when you're gonna add, what you have to do is you have to download Lobster, and after you download it and set it up and everything, you have to send XLM to that wallet. Everything you do in Lobster has to be done with XLM only. And I recommend not buying XLM in the app because they charge a pretty hefty premium. So I just send XLM over from like Coinbase or something, or BitTrue. And once you've got your XLM in there, you go to your assets, you go down to add asset at the bottom, and then you type in SHX. And you're gonna see, you have to be very careful on Lobster because there are a lot of scam coins, because anyone can make a coin. I could make poop coin and put it up there for $1 million, right? Like anyone could put a coin up there. I'm pretty sure there already is a poop coin, so that's not too innovative on my end, but we'll go with crap coin. And so you put, when you type in SHX, you have to make sure that you're getting the right one, because there are a number of fake copies, and I lost like $300 the first time I invested because I bought the wrong one. So don't make the same mistake I did. You have to make sure that the little website link that's under the asset says stronghold.co. And actually probably the better way to do it would be to type stronghold.co into the search bar instead of SHX, because that should pop up the correct version for you immediately. But under any asset you add, there's always a website under it that is the originator of that token. Excuse me. And the website, make sure it says stronghold.co, because I did the one that said xflare.networks because I thought that they were all just different holders of the same coin, and it was just like who you're buying it from. But then I found out that no, that whatever this xflare.network is a spam spin-off of the real Flare network, and they're making all these fake coins and putting them up there. So don't buy anything from xflare network. Make sure it says stronghold.co. And you can book a session with me if you want more one-on-one help with this. I literally have been walking my clients through this, through buying Stronghold and through buying XDC on BitTrue and through buying all the kind of more complicated coins that are a little more in depth to get. You can book a session with me. Just email me below, cosmicorigins777@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram or Telegram. And what else with Stronghold? You guys have any questions? I am putting together my course right now for crypto, kind of a crypto 101 course for both new investors and returning investors. That's going to be out next month sometime. It's going to be a live, basically like a live course that is going to be recorded that you can access later, and you'll be able to ask questions and stuff in the course. And yeah, if you want to sign up for that, you can email me. And we've got this retreat going on this December in Sedona. We're doing a winter creekside Sedona retreat in a giant, beautiful 10-bedroom dome house that is just pure magic, right on the creek. Views of the Red Rocks. We're going to be doing sound baths and yoga and a lot of recharging, resting, rejuvenating, and activating and getting ourselves right for the shifts that are going to be, you know, increasing on the planet over these next couple months and years. We're really going to want to work on ourselves the best we can and get ourselves into the best balance of our mind, body, and spirit complexes, the torus field of it all. And we're really looking forward to hosting that retreat and all the people that are guided to come. So everyone who's interested so far and the people who have bought passes are XRP holders and are XRP future 5D entrepreneurs, basically. So it's going to be a great networking thing too, which is something we didn't even really plan, that there's going to be great like networking opportunities for people that are going to be like future 5D venture capitalists, as I keep saying that we're going to be, which I very much believe. So yeah. All right, you guys, well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. A little bit of a shorter video, but I hope you guys got some value out of that. And like I said, I won't be here next weekend because I'll be at Camp Disclosure, but the weekend after that, I should be back. And man, if we become XRP cajillionaires by that point, that's going to be crazy. I might just have to make a video, even if I'm at Camp D, if, you know, XRP ends up going to the moon this next week. So, oh, Angelito, great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Were there some recent airdrops? So, let's answer that real quick. Yes, there is a new airdrop announced for XRP holders. Anyone who owns XRP, it's not related to Spark or Flare at all. From what I've seen, it doesn't matter what date you held it on either. It's like right now. And this new network that's doing the airdrop is called SHX. And I recommend going to the Flare Community YouTube page, Flare Community. And he just uploaded a video yesterday about how to claim your tokens for the airdrop. It's through the Zum app, so you have to have some XRP in the Zum app. I don't know how to do it for other XRP holdings yet, like Ledger and Decent and like the exchanges. I'm not sure about that. The only way I've seen so far is through the Zum app. But even if you just you know, create a Zum wallet right now and you send a handful of XRP over there, you can do this. And so it's really as easy as just taking the token address for this new token, and you create a trust line in the Zum app, which basically just means you add the new token and you copy and paste that thing in, and then the token's there, and then they're going to actually airdrop the tokens sometime like next year, 2022. So you got time. It's really easy. It took me like 5 minutes, but you have to go to the Zum website and like do a couple things. So go to Flare Community, watch that tutorial, and that's the best way to do it. You're welcome, guys. XRP toolkit for Ledger Nanos, says Jarek. Yeah, I do know how to do that. I haven't actually learned how to do it with the toolkit yet, but I imagine there is a way. So I will have to brush up on that, and I'll let you guys know. Maybe I'll make a specific video just for that once I get it down a little more. So, all right, you guys, great video. Much love. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll see some of you at Camp Disclosure. And don't forget about that treasure map. Look into Kane coin. And oh boy, things are getting exciting. So yeah. All right, you guys, much love. Peace out. And I'll see you in, I guess, a couple weeks, maybe sooner.